Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode. And today we're about to talk about a topic that I've been meaning to talk about over the last few weeks. One that I feel is very fascinating, and that is who would win between the honey badger and the Wolverine. What would happen if these two amazing, incredible creatures somehow encounter each other? What do you think would happen? There would be a fight. Who do you think would win? I think I know who would win. But before I make my case, how about I give you a few facts about both similarities and differences. Now, a few similarities to begin with. Both of these incredible creatures are short and stocky. They both resemble a dog, even though they're not related to dogs. They both have heavily muscled bodies on purpose, right? They both have incredible jaw muscles, which means they have an incredible bite force, which also means you definitely don't want to get bitten by either one because when they bite, they latch on. Trust me on that. Now, because of their respective environments, they have certain adaptations. Now, for the Wolverine, and the Wolverine is primarily found in the Northern Hemisphere. Nowadays, primarily in a lot of their numbers are in North America, but their environment is primarily cold. So they've adapted and evolved certain aspects or certain features to cope in the cold. One such feature is the fact that they have they have very thick fur, obviously to protect them from the cold, but at the same time, that fur is very thick and defends them against creatures that would attack them, like wolves, right? So they've adapted to that. When it comes to the honey badger's environment is warmer, hotter. Now they're nowadays primarily found in Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa, but traditionally their numbers were spread out all over Africa and all over South Asia. But because of obviously habitat loss and human encroachment and whatever, their numbers right now are concentrated in Eastern, Central, and Southern Africa. And it's primarily hot. And so they've also adapted to that, which means their skin is relatively dark, but at the same time, it's very thick. Now, both of these creatures, their skins are very thick on purpose. The honey badger has skin thicker than a rhino. Think about that. Its skin is thicker than a rhino. Do you know how big a rhino is? 4 tons. This is a tank. But a little creature that weighs 30 pounds, just like a dog, has skin thicker than a rhino. I find that fascinating. Another similarity between the two is the fact that they're both fearless, absolutely fearless, which means they will not only defend themselves against any and everything. They don't care how big you are. They will stand their ground and fight to the death. They don't back down to anybody. But at the same time, they go after creatures 10 times bigger than them. I mean, there are videos of a Wolverine trying to take on a moose. Fearless. There are videos of a honey badger taking on a python 20 times bigger. Fearless creatures. That's one of the coolest things I love about these two creatures is they're like small boxers. They don't back down to anybody. They're fearless. They're courageous. They're confident. It doesn't really matter. It's one of the traits that echoes, right? When people talk about the Wolverine or the honey badger, when you ask them, what do you like most about these creatures? Dude, they're fearless. They don't back down to anybody. They will fight and fight to the death. It doesn't really matter, you know? And it's one of the cool things I love about them. And there are videos where you'll see a Wolverine go up against a pack of wolves and it will not back down and it will wear them down. Now, they can kill. I'm not saying they can kill a Wolverine going up against a pack of wolves. Listen, it can probably kill one or two maybe, but eventually it will die. But what happens is it wears them down because they now realize this thing will not back down. This thing will not give up or give in. Similarly, the honey badger will go up against a pride of lions and the same thing will happen. It will wear them down. This little thing is basically not giving in or giving up or even giving way. It's not running away. It's standing its ground. They both do that. And that's I think that's why I admire and respect these two creatures, is because they basically echo a lot of qualities we would love to have in ourselves, and even the qualities we look up to people. There's certain similarities here. And I think that's why these two creatures have somehow, some way, ingratiated themselves in our minds when it comes to, you know what? When I think of a really feisty, fearless, confident creature, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Wolverine, HoneyBagger. And that's why I think these two creatures, they're almost like myths right now. We absolutely love them and adore them because of these really cool qualities. Obviously, there are certain other differences between the two. Now, when it comes to size, the Wolverine is slightly bigger, just slightly bigger. A fully grown male Wolverine is maybe about 40 pounds. A fully grown HoneyBagger is about 35 pounds. Now, in captivity, they can definitely get bigger in their respective environments. They are very, very close, very, very close in weight. So if they were boxers, their weight classes would almost be the same, give or take a few pounds or a few kilos, right? As far as their diet, they're both considered omnivores, which means they eat a variety of things, from fruits to berries to roots to seeds, right? But primarily, both consume a lot of meat. Now, for the Wolverine primarily likes to scavenge. That does not mean it doesn't hunt. It does hunt, right? But because they live in an environment that is primarily very, very cold, it's very, very difficult to hunt, right? Creatures are not only bigger and faster than you. So the Wolverine prefers to scavenge. So a lot of times it will trail wolves, it will trail a bear, because it knows once the bear is done eating or the wolves are done eating, it will scavenge whatever is left, and it's easier for that. It makes sense, and it actually makes sense because of the environment. But that don't get it twisted. It will definitely hunt, and it hunts. The HoneyBagger primarily hunts. It loves to hunt, and it will eat anything. And both of them, remember when I told you that they were fearless, they're also fearless in what they eat. There's a common misconception that both of these creatures are immune to venom. Now, there's truth to that. Both will encounter certain types of snakes, right? Now, for the Wolverine, primarily it will encounter rattlesnakes, especially when it is in the summertime, right? And it will absolutely eat them. But again, venomous snakes will bite you. So it has evolved to somehow be immune to certain kinds of venom. Not all kinds of venom. Same thing with the HoneyBagger. The HoneyBagger's environment allows it to encounter certain venomous snakes. The Black Panther for one, and the Cobra for two. And oftentimes they encounter one of the two. Now, obviously, if they do attack these kinds of snakes, they will get bitten. Now, when I say there's some truth to this, is they've obviously built some level of immunity to the venom. But it doesn't mean the venom doesn't affect them. Now, when both of them are bitten, they do actually, for some reason, they react to the venom. So you'll see them either slow down or slouch or sleep, or that's what happens. But give them time, 10, 15 minutes. It's like their body needs to work this out of their system. And then they're okay. But again, they're not immune to all kinds of venom, and they're also not immune to a huge dose of venom. So oftentimes when they encounter a bigger, more mature snake doesn't always bite and release a lot of venom, because venom is very precious to snakes. They don't just, they don't just use it all willy-nilly. It takes time to create venom. They don't have like an instant factory of venom always ready to go. So they always just release a small amount of venom. So these two creatures have adapted to small amounts of venom. Now, a smaller creature will release a ton of venom out of fear. So a ton of venom can actually kill either of these two creatures. So they're not fully immune to venom. That's just one thing I will, You hear it all the time, and people will always assume because you'll see a honey badger eat a venomous snake, it's immune. Yeah, because that snake, that mature big snake, did not release a huge dose of venom because that would overwhelm the system. You know what I mean? So they're not fully immune, but they have adapted some immunity to these venoms, right? So that's just a fun fact that you now know, right? But again, they both eat a variety of animals. For the honey badger, it will eat anything. It will catch monitor lizards that are bigger. It doesn't really matter. It will catch a small gazelle. It will walk up to any, as long as it can catch it, it will eat it, right? The honey badger, actually, I saw this video where this honey badger was eating, or actually trying to eat this python that was almost 20 times bigger than it. And this was like a fight. They're both in this tug of war, right? And the snake wrapped itself around the honey badger, and somehow, some way, this thing got free. I'll show this video at the end, and that's another relentless, fearless creature, you know. And you'll see a video of Wolverine trying to take down a moose. It's crazy because visually you're like, this makes no sense, but again, it goes with their respective characters. They're absolutely incredible creatures. Now we get to this philosophical question that I posed in the beginning. What do you think would happen if these two creatures had, for some way, somehow, in this hypothetical universe of ours, if they would somehow encounter each other, what do you think would happen? Now, again, in the real world, this would never happen. They live in absolutely different worlds. Not only different continents, but different environments. So they would never encounter each other unless somebody did it on purpose, which would be cruel. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, these two creatures happen to run into each other. Neutral site. I believe there would be a fight, and it would be almost instantaneous to me, because they would not recognize each other. Because again, these two live in different environments. They've grown and adapted to recognize whatever enemies they both have, right? For the Wolverine, it's wolves and bears. For the honey badger, it's lions and leopards and hyenas and jackals. You know what I mean? So they both can recognize their respective enemies. So both of them encountering each other would not recognize each other. So in their heads, because again, they're on eye level. I can take you, I can take you. Instant fight. I believe this would be an instant fight. Now, let's talk about tail of the tape. What do they both bring to the table? They're both short and stocky. They're both muscly. They're both heavily protected, heavily armored, because they have not only really, really big teeth, really strong jaws, so they can bite. They have long claws that they can do a lot of damage with, right? They're both very, very aggressive. So when I say this would be an instant fight, this would be an instant fight. But in my mind, who do I think would win? I feel like the honey badger would win, and let me tell you why. I believe at the end it would come down to who's more relentless, who can go more rounds, right? Who has more stamina, and I feel like that is a honey badger. The honey badger would win in my mind because it brings all of those tools to the table. And because of the harsh environment and everything a honey badger gets to deal with in terms of what it encounters, from snakes, again, to lions, it is heavily prepared to take on anything. Because outside of bears, and trust me, Wolverines do their best to stay away from bears, right? Wolves. The Wolverine tries very much to stay away from wolves. Now, they, again, like I said, they do encounter them. It's always accidental, right? So it rarely encounters them. So it's not necessarily prepared. The honey badger roams the savannah, wakes up in the morning and just roams. And it will go through anything, right? So I feel like it's heavily prepared to tackle on anything. So it's been prepared over time. It's adapted over time. That's why I believe if these two creatures somehow, some way got together and there was a fight, yeah, I feel like it would be a 12-round fight. But at the end, the honey badger would win. And for all those reasons that I mentioned. Now, again, the Wolverine would basically, it would be, again, this is a fair fight. Nobody has any crazy adaptation, like in terms of, nobody brings anything extra to the table that adds, outside of just not only the environment, not only what the honey badger encounters on a daily basis, right? Because the honey badger wakes up to fight every day. That's basically its whole world. It wakes up every day ready to fight because of where it lives. So to me, the honey badger wins, but it would be a long, brutal fight. And yeah, even though the honey badger would win, it would be in pain. Like, it would be in trouble. It would be on life support. It would be on life support because these two are really, really almost evenly matched. So I feel the Wolverine would win. But I don't know. You tell me. Maybe you have a different take on this. You can tell me in the comments. Who do you think would win between these two incredible creatures? Have you seen them? Have you encountered them? Do you know anything about them? Do you know more? Because obviously I haven't really gone deeper into a huge part of these two on purpose, right? I will in the future. But maybe you have a different take on it. Let me know in the comments. Anyway, like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. And let's have fun with this conversation. And I will see you on the next episode. Watch a few videos about these two incredible creatures. And I'll catch you again. See you later, guys.
But the wolves are on patrol, seeking fresh opportunity. And now they've picked up the scent. As a mother, it will be her ultimate test. Freya will guard this entrance with her life. Freya lives up to her legend as the most aggressive carnivore on the planet.
Jeg klarer å zoome på det her. Det gjør jeg faktisk.
Gjør sånn, stakkars.
Ja, man tar nakketapp. Sånn.
Herregud.
That's unbelievable. That's Wolverine.
Kamp det.
Taking on a reindeer. Look at that.
Det var sterkt, det.
problem and the snake has a jackal problem. There's no bloody two ways about it. The python is struggling to get the chokehold under the honey badger's neck. I feel like it's only a matter of time before the stubborn bastard breaks free. The jackal is saying, let me have a go, let me jump in. Oh, there it is. He's out. Look at him stare down the camera. He's like, are you part of the problem? Are you an enemy that needs an ass whooping as well? He's like Robert Downey and Sherlock Holmes, figuring out equations and deciding who to beat up first. Well, yeah, it's got to be the python. Dragging you to my lair. Dragging you to my lair. Yeah, Jackal, please help me. Together we can still win this fight, says Python, and Jackal bites his face. That's not the reply the Python was hoping for. Oh dear, there's two scavenger wits in the house. A couple of hours pass, no one is backing down. The Python has a long list of regrets. The honey badger is trash talking. Who's cancelled now? My badass reputation is renewed for another decade. The jackal bites him on the ass. He yells, oh no you didn't. Only my missus has permission to bite my ass. Even then, I'm sensitive about it. Dragging you to my lair. Dragging you to my lair. Yeah. Oh, the jackal bites his ass again. What a slow learner. It's a bad idea to keep biting a honey badger on the ass. I mean, I assume it is. I don't know from experience. Plant-based bloke is loving this. He's loving this shit fight and not having to be a part of it. For now, the honey badger licks his meal. It looks to me like he's victorious, as usual.